you for standing strong on what you believe in and not making me have to pick it out.
Somebody has to be. I'm not gonna get on board with that one hill jack there that you just had on. That guy was something else. Too many Bud Lights, it looks like. So I have a couple things I just want to ask and get your opinion on, right? So the first one is kind of back a couple conversations. So I apologize if you wanted to move forward, but the first one is the whole. Let me just ask this: you know what a filibuster is, right? You know what the filibuster is. You know the purpose of it.
Right? You can explain it to my audience because it's actually a common word that's used. It's usually only used in like mainstream media, but go for it.
So I'm just gonna. I don't care really about them. I'm just gonna talk to you. So Strom Thurmond, I think is how you pronounce his name. You know who he is?
No, actually, no.
So he's a Democratic. He holds the longest filibuster, 24 hours, 18 minutes in Congress, right? He's a Democrat, and this is kind of where I'm going with this. He's a Democratic leader who strictly stood against the civil rights movement. He was the main person for that. So I'm looking at your thing, and you said previously, if you align with the things listed above you, right, you're most likely going to vote left. You stand by that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So my big thing is the first one is pro-black that you have listed there, right? So if you look at the statistics of it, what are your highest? We're going to just keep it to black African Americans, right? What are your highest incarceration states?
I'm just assuming you're going to say Democratic.
They are, yeah. Strictly New York and California make up the majority of it, along with Illinois and New Jersey.
Okay, so what argument are you actually making here?
So my big thing is again, if you're going to say, if you align with what's above, right, you're going to vote left. I don't think that's factual because, again, if you're pro-black, your highest incarcerated black Americans are in liberal ran states. If you're pro-LGBT, your current president and your previous president both said they don't stand for gay marriage. Pro-choice, I'll give them that one. You're probably going to go left if you're full-blown into pro-choice. But the problem that I have is that right now you're fighting for pro-choice to go against the ban in Texas. Kamala Harris, I think, is the one leading that charge, right? But then you're also mandating the forceful use of a vaccine, which you did state it stops the mutations, right, of variants. Statistically, scientifically, that's false. You can go on any Moderna website, Pfizer website, they even say it on their websites, that it will not stop the cause of variants. The vaccine will not do that. Scientifically, it's facts. CDC, the WHO, the websites of the manufacturers, they all say that it's not factual. So my thing is...
What topic do you actually want to talk about?
I'll do whichever one you want. You said, which one were you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to pro-choice, personally.
Pro-choice? All right. So my first thing is how can you be pro-choice? You're pro-choice on abortions, my body, my choice.
Argument. We're either talking about vaccines or we're talking about pro-choice.
It's not the different argument. It's not. This is what the left does because they can't make up for. There's no excuse for it. It's that.
I do have an argument. People have brought this up to me a million times during a debate. You're not the first person to do this. I'm just today, since I'm limited on time, we're either talking about pro-choice or we're talking about vaccines. I'm not trying to talk about both at the same time.
Okay, that's fine. Do you have a preference on which one?
Pro-choice, because it's more
pro-choice. Let's do it. Okay. So my argument for that one would be, obviously, like you said earlier, if you're think that it's murder, right? If you're on the left, it's my body, my choice. My big thing, and it's kind of a stolen line because I'm sure everybody knows who Tom McDonald is. He's a very controversial independent rapper, right? The whole life on Mars, right? Organisms on Mars counts as life, but a beating heart in the fetus does not. It's a very factual statement.
What?
Okay, so the left looks at, so the left looks at, if we were to find an organism, right, on Mars, that would be considered as life, an alien life form, right? But we're saying that a living organism inside of a human body is not. that it doesn't have the free will that the mother has the right to term.
When people are talking about life on the pro-choice side, they aren't saying that the fetus isn't literally biologically alive. Obviously it is. We're talking about philosophically and whether it should deserve like protection from the state. We're not talking about like whether it's literally alive. Like, obviously it's literally alive. Like it has
so I think some people from the left would disagree. I'm not going to say all of them, because obviously I can't speak for everybody. That's like me speaking for all Republicans. I don't know all of their independent views. But I would agree with that statement, though, that some people are going to look at it one way, some people are going to look at it another way. So my thing is, do I think there should be, allowed abortions for things like rape? Yes, absolutely.
Why?
But I think there's things like,
But why, though?
What was that? Sorry.
Why?
Why what?
Why should
it be allowed
rape?
for
Why should
rape?
Why should it exclude rape? Because like the fetus's life doesn't become any less valuable because it's a rape baby, does it?
So I think that's, again, one of those things where it's going to be per person, right? I think some people will fight the fight on, oh, well, you can just have it and give it up for adoption. I think other people would fight the fight and say, no, it's, going to be traumatic. It's going to cause PTSD for the mother and all of that. I think that's where, I'll be honest, I'm not a woman. I can't speak on what that's going to be like on the mental state. I can assume what it might be like, but...
I mean, I would rebuttal and say that women have postpartum depression from babies that they do want. It causes an extreme amount of like pain just carrying the baby full term, and then like delivering it is also extreme amount of pain. So like...
So I would agree to that. Yeah, my ex-wife had like pretty bad PTSD after the birth of our son.
Mm-hmm. Should she be forced to do that? I don't...
Forced to what? Have the baby?
Have a child.
So I think, yeah, if she wants to have a child, she should have the child. But I think the problem that I have, though, is my biggest problem with pro-choice is it should take both parents to decide whether or not the child gets born or not.
Nah.
Period. So then how am I responsible for, like, I'm not a shitty dad. At least I don't think I'm a shitty dad. I don't have to pay child support because I have my kids 50-50. But why would I have to pay child support on a kid that I don't want then?
It's a false equivalency.
Because that's how the states look at it.
It's a false equivalency because the government can request that you pay money to a certain entity, although they cannot request that you donate your bodily fluids or your organs to another being.
Okay. Say that one more time. I don't think I caught all that.
The state can force you to pay money to a certain entity, but they cannot force you to pay your blood or your organs or anything else that is like literally a part of your body to another being, which is what's happening when we force a woman to go through with a pregnancy.
That she willingly put herself in.
No, you don't willingly.
How did she not willingly have sex?
If you get in a car, do you willingly get into a car accident?
You put your risk at it, or there's a risk of it every time.
Yeah, but does that mean that you consent to getting into a car accident? Do you consent to getting hit by another
Essentially,
car?
Yeah.
Really? You consent to getting hit by another car when you get in a car? When you get in a car?
It's a risk, yeah. It's a risk that you're willing to take.
So we shouldn't be able to sue anybody that hits us with their car because we consented to getting hit by their car when we entered our car.
So that's a different situation.
But
and this is the same thing like where you did before, where you're taking a different subject and bringing it onto a different subject.
No, because this is an analogy for abortion.
Okay. So I'm going to have to disagree with that one.
Why? No, because like you actually don't agree with this. You don't agree just because you engage in an activity that has risk in it doesn't mean you consent to the thing that happens to you if you do that thing. Like, let's say you I don't know. Let's say you get into a pool, right? Do you now consent to drowning?
Not if you're wearing floats. Same thing as if you're wearing a condom or if you're on the pill.
Wait, so
you're less likely to get in a crash, or you're less likely to get hurt or die in a crash if you wear a seatbelt.
Okay, let's say you drink, and like drinking increases your chances of having sex at a party. Does that automatically mean that you consent to all sex that happens at that party?
So I'm drinking at a party. Because I'm drunk, I'm more likely to have sex.
Yeah.
Do I consent
to every sexual act that happens in that party because you increase the risk of you having sex by drinking?
I increase the risk by going to a party.
Yeah, but does that mean
whether
that
it's drinking or not? That's not the same thing, though.
But why isn't it, though? You have to explain why it isn't.
How is it?
Because you were saying that because you have sex, you consent to getting pregnant. Because there's a risk of you getting pregnant.
I'm not saying you consent. I'm saying you have a risk. It's not the same.
Oh, so you're not saying that you consent. So your argument, so the mother doesn't consent to getting pregnant. She did not choose to get pregnant.
She takes the risk of getting pregnant.
She did not choose to get pregnant.
She's not openly saying, I consent to you fucking nutting in my legs. There's a difference. But you're taking the risk of that.
Yeah, but
you have birth control, you have condoms.
But she didn't consent
to
getting pregnant, though. She didn't consent to
getting pregnant. But she risks it.
But she didn't consent to getting pregnant, though.
If she opened her legs and they had sex, you're risking getting pregnant. You're giving consent to the option of potentially getting pregnant.
So? And I believe she should be able to cancel the pregnancy.
Okay. So, not going down the murder route. So, again, though, it comes back to, if that's the case, why am I, as a man, then responsible for that child after birth? Whether it's monetary or stepping in as a father figure.
I mean, it's not just a man either. Like, you'd be responsible as a woman, too.
Well, yeah. Depending on
certain
courts, yeah.
Because the government...
So I would disagree. I think the courts heavily favor mothers when it comes to things like that. Not that that's a bad
societal
thing.
issue. That's not like a...
I would agree. That's a societal issue for sure.
My point? Okay.
But I don't think... Go ahead.
Let me give you an example that usually works for the most part. Let's say you're kidnapped, right? And so...
Okay.
No, not actually. I won't use kidnapped because you said that you would allow abortions for rape, right?
Do what?
You'd allow abortions for rape, right?
I think there should be certain things where it could be allowed, yes. I agree that.
Yeah.
But I think there should be certain stipulations to it, yeah.
But, like, what stipulations?
So I just think that, like, there should be some type of, I don't want to say counseling because I don't think that's an appropriate word, but some type of, like, class that somebody could attend to get educated on what the outcome could potentially be. Because I think while you could also suffer from PTSD from giving birth, I think you could also potentially suffer from PTSD later in the future by thinking about, did I murder a child? Because everybody knows people's feelings and things change.
Okay, but like, yes, you do believe that you should be able to get an abortion if you're raped.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay, sure. Do you believe that if you get into a car, if somebody hits you with a car, you can seek compensation for that, right?
Yes, you can right now. Yeah.
Okay. Do you believe that if you hit somebody with your car and they need your blood, do you believe that the government can force you to give your blood to them?
So if I'm in a car wreck,
and
I think the government should force you, let's just say you, can force you to give blood to me, or are you saying if I die, they can give my blood and organs to somebody else?
No, I'm saying that, like, you crash into somebody, right? And then because of that, they now need, let's say they need a blood transfusion right then and there from the paramedics.
Okay.
Do you believe that the government should be able to force you to give your blood to that person?
Nope. I'm going to have to go with no.
Why?
So I think it comes back to The fact that as of now we don't have government health care, I think that could eventually change, where the government will tell you that you are going to do or not things. I mean, they're doing it with the vaccine, but
Yeah, but I'm
not to
saying,
get off
why does
topic.
his right, why does his right to life should supersede your right to bodily autonomy, right? So why should you not have to give your blood to him?
Because I'm not involved to him.
No, but you are.
I have no
You
connection
caused
to
him
that
to be in
person.
that situation. It was your fault. You got in the car wreck. You caused the wreck.
Okay.
So why shouldn't
Still
you
don't know the
have to
person.
give your blood to that person?
I'm not tied to that person in any other way than getting in a car wreck. I didn't have my dick in that person. I didn't get that person impregnated.
So, like, okay, here's the thing.
It's
Here's
a different, like, I see
situation.
where you're going with it. I get where you're
Yeah.
going with it.
Like, the car wreck is the sex, all right? You cause because of the sex, you caused the fetus to be in a situation to where it needs your blood. Because of the car wreck, you caused the person to be in a situation where they need your blood, all right? And Texas would be forcing a woman to then give their blood to that fetus, just like in my situation, the government would be forcing you to give your blood to the person that you caused to be in a situation to where they needed your blood. It is the exact same situation.
I don't think so.
Why? Why? Is it just because
It's
it's
not the
sex?
same.
What is the meaningful differentiation here?
I'm not tied to that person. I'm tied to the car accident, if we're going to relate that to
But
the
you
child or
caused
the
them
sex
to
or
need
whatever.
your blood, though. Like, do you think like
How did
the
I cause
physical
it? Did I
time-
rape her? I didn't rape her. I didn't cause anything. She
You
caused
caused
it just
a car
as
wreck.
much. It was a mutual decision to have sex. It's a mutual decision on whether or not the child's born or not. It should be. It's not, but it should be.
Yeah, but okay. In the sex scene, it would be consensual. In this situation, you violated somebody else by crashing into them, and yet you still wouldn't have to give them.
I'm not
your
worried
blood.
about the car accident. I'm worried about the sex and the creation of a baby. I don't give a fuck about the cars.
You're literally just
What
not
I'm getting at,
engaging with the analogy.
you didn't engage
Like,
with
okay.
anybody else's analogy. You said it was a different situation.
No, they weren't giving analogies. They were literally just getting off topic. This is an exact one-to-one analogy to abortion. Like, okay, let's say, in this analogy, they literally attach you to this person by blood, like through it with a tube. They force you to do it. Okay, without your consent. Do you have the right to get off the blood transfusion?
Hold on, I think you lost me there. So you're saying that this person who I wrecked into, right, is now in a bed, and I'm on the other bed, and they're taking my blood and giving it to him. Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have the right to withdraw your bodily fluids from him? Like, do you have the right to cut off the connection and not give your blood to him?
It's not my child, yeah.
Okay, let's say it was your child. Let's say it was your son.
Okay.
Do you now have to give your blood to him?
Do I now have to give my blood to him? Yes, as a father, I do.
What? Really? Just because you have the same blood as him?
Do you have kids?
Um,
I don't know how old you are, so I
No.
apologize. Okay.
But
I didn't-
legally, no.
I assume
you can't
not.
force somebody to.
Okay.
Like, this is a violation of, like, the 13th Amendment. There's another bill where they ruled where you can't force somebody to donate their bone marrow even if they need it to live. Like, and you're saying that just because it's your son, you have to donate your body parts
Yeah,
to him?
I would. It's not a choice.
I mean, it's not
He's my
whether you
son.
would. That's not what we're talking about right now. I would too. I would do that for my son. But what we're arguing right now is should the state be able to force you to do it?
So again, this is where we have contradicting things, because I could very easily throw the vaccine in here and it's the exact same fucking argument.
Nah, bro.
Exact same.
That was a yes or no question.
I'm not going to, but I could, because it's the same thing. It is.
Are you gonna
Now,
So you agree that the state should force you to give your blood to your grown adult son after you get into a car accident with him?
we didn't say he was a grown adult. He's over 18. He can do his own damn thing. No, I'm just playing. It was a joke. It's a joke.
though. You should.
So I think, again, it's a different situation. I get the analogy.
It's literally
I think it's a very good analogy.
It's
I think
one
it's a
to
very
one.
good analogy, but it's not the same.
It's-
I understand it.
What is different
It's not.
though? What's different? Like
You're
besides
talking
it
about a
being
car
sex,
to a child.
but like all of the things
Talking about
are
a living
one
organism to
analogy.
a piece of metal. It's completely different. It is not comparable in any
you literally
capacity.
okay. Let's say you let's say you assault a person.
Okay.
And then they need
So-
your blood. Should the government be able to force you to give your blood to that person?
So me and you were walking down the street. We bump shoulders. I hit you. Should I be forced to give you my blood? Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
I still don't see the comparison here on where we're going with this. I'm not trying to like. So maybe
You do
I'm
though.
slow because
You
it's
do
late at
because I
night, but,
connected
like,
every single thing.
It's not though. It's not the same.
Where is the differentiation? Like you hurting the person is the
Okay.
mother.
Am
who
I hurting a
conceived
girl
the
when I'm
child.
having sex?
No, which makes my analogy even better because it would be like you're the rapist in this situation, right?
Okay, I see where you're going.
Or another person. I don't know if we have to get too emotional into it, but it would be
No,
like
I get where you're going.
it's really your fault. It's really your fault. But should you be able to still give your should you have to give your blood to the person? I still say no because the government can't violate your bodily autonomy, no matter what.
But you're talking about a third life as opposed to two lives in your scenarios. There's a third life there. Either way.
Let's
There's a
say the
third
father. Let's say the father just disappears. Then it's two life in the abortion situation too.
What do you mean the father disappears? So you're saying like dad
Yeah,
knocks
then-
this
then-
chick
then
up,
it's
and
just
just
two people
rolls
in
out.
the
He doesn't want
situation.
anything to do with it.
Yeah, like then it's just two people in the situation. Now,
So in my opinion, if I'm being honest, I think adoption should be a thing.
but like,
But here's where I have a problem with that because I get
Bro, that-
all sides.
but
Go ahead, sorry.
the state should it be able to force you to give your blood to that person? Is what I'm asking you, bro. Like, why? It's a one-to-one analogy, and then you go to adoption. There's no adoption. Like,
Maybe I
I guess the
misunderstood where you were
adoption-
going with it then.
I guess the adoption situation in this, like, for my assault analogy, would be like you paying them compensation.
Okay. Yeah, if I hit somebody, I'm going to have to either probably pay a medical fee or something like that. Yeah, it's compensation.
Yeah, but like, let's say they're going to die. It's without your blood, though.
Okay. I guess the fucker shouldn't have looked at me sideways. I don't know. It's not the same argument.
It is. It's one-to-one. Everything is one-to-one. I've lined everything up perfectly. It's a perfect analogy at this point. Like, you have...
It is not
No.
even close to being a perfect analogy. Because at the end of the day, if I have sex
I
with a
will
woman,
have you back on later. Follow me. I do have to get to a therapy session, though.
Oh, sorry.
Not even
man.
joking.
You should cut me off early. I'm sorry. I didn't realize you had something going on. I know you said you're running out of time. No, that's fine. I'll give you a follow. I appreciate you talking with me and having a respectful conversation. I appreciate it. I always like
Yeah,
talking
me
and
too.
hearing different people's views. So have a great night, man.